I'm currently in the process of trying to watch every single Fred Astaire film, and this introduced me to the Notorious Landlady, the 1962 film directed by Richard Quine, and I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. I thought there were definitely bits that were really engaging and very entertaining. There were bits that were quite suspenseful, and the acting across the board was pretty good. We also have Kim Novak and Jack Lemmon. And the narrative is quite interesting. It's about this American, played by Jack Lemmon, who decides to rent the apartment in Carly Hardwicke's house. And the name Carly Hardwicke means nothing to him. But she's actually quite a notorious name in England, where it's set, of course, in London, because she is accused of having murdered her husband. And I say accused of because this does go to trial. But Gridley, Jack Lemmon's character, doesn't really believe this when he finds out, and he becomes very enamoured of Carly Hardwicke, and we get to see them spending a lot of time together. But he's got an alternative role. That means he's trying to find, against his wishes really, to find out whether or not she did murder her husband. And whether or not she did, I'm not going to divulge. I'm not going to say, of course. But I will say the narrative progressed quite interestingly. I think the reason it worked is because of the characters of Hardwicke and Gridley. I liked those. I thought they were good characters. They worked together. Jack Lemmon and Kim Novak have a great on-screen chemistry with those characters. Fred Astaire played Ambruster, who... he's Gridley's boss, and he's in it a decent amount. It's unusual to have a Fred Astaire film where he's not playing the protagonist. For me, personally, based on the ones that I've watched. It's also unusual for him to be sitting down most of the time rather than dancing. But it just shows that Fred Astaire can be in a film and still be glorious, even if he's not dancing. The characters were the driving force for me. I wasn't actually that emotionally invested in whether or not she had murdered her husband, which is unusual for me because I love mystery films, I love thrillers, I like to get to the bottom of it. But with this one, I just found like it wasn't as interesting as the relationship between Jack Lemmon, between Gridley and Hardwicke. I just feel like the characters were more interesting than the narrative itself, which is fine. That's why I enjoyed it. I feel like a lot of people would prefer the narrative. I've read a little bit of a few reviews online, not too many, but just enough to get a general feeling that people seem to really like this film and that the narrative seems to be very well liked. It's a well-developed narrative. It doesn't give away too much too soon. There's nothing wrong with it. I just preferred the characters. I found I was more emotionally invested in their relationship and how they interacted. There is quite a lot of comedy in this, and comedies and mysteries are often two opposing genres based on the feel of them, the tone, the mood that they set. And it can be quite difficult to actually get that balance. But The Notorious Landlady absolutely did. There are scenes of high intensity. There are definitely questionable moments where I did think, yeah, I wonder what's going to happen next, even though I wasn't that invested in the narrative progression. But there are definitely funny moments. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I will just say, look out. In fact, no, I can't. With a spoiler warning, I'll tell you my favourite scene in a moment. I was going to try and pussyfoot around it, but I don't want to give anything away. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Maybe the narrative wasn't exactly what I'd hoped for, but there's nothing specifically wrong with it. Really enjoyed the courtroom scenes. I thought they were very unpredictable. The scenes inside the apartment, I thought, made great use of the set design. Definitely liked it, thoroughly recommend it. It's not my favourite film, it's not my favourite Fred Astaire film. I haven't seen that many Kim Novak films, so it could be my favourite Kim Novak film, but it's not my favourite Jack Lemmon. But it's good, definitely recommend. So, a spoiler from now. It's a kind of a spoiler. All I'll say is look out for the scene with the Mikado, because I adored it. I thought it was... the music was obviously really great. The execution of the scene was fantastic. The way it was shot, the pacing, I just loved it. It is a bit of a spoiler, so I won't say any more. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. The Notorious Landlady may not be my all-time favourite film, but I still liked it.